Is a single barrel worth twice as much as its batched counterpart just because it's a single barrel? We're going to find out now. We're going to review Wild Turkey Kentucky Spirit Single Barrel 101 Proof. So I have passed on this bottle so many times that I've lost track. The reason I've passed on it is because I have a hard time believing that this, as the single barrel version of Wild Turkey 101, is twice as good as it. It is twice as much. In Wegmans, this is $61, and that's the low side of what I've seen. I've seen this in the 70s. I've even seen it as high as 80 by me. But this was 61, so call it around 60. The 1 liter, this is a 1 liter, the 750 milliliter version of this, is around $29 in New Jersey, give or take, call it 30. So call this twice as much as this, and this is 101 proof, 101 proof. This is a single barrel version of this Wild Turkey 101, a regular Wild Turkey 101 before there was the 8 year, before there was Jimmy Russell's 70th, just the regular 101. And I do have a hard time believing that this is worth twice as much. So I've passed on it so many times, like I just can't justify it. There's so many other bottles. And curiosity got the best of me because I really had all the others. I have the regular 101 I've now had the 8 year, I had the 70th. And just to sum those up, I found the 70th anniversary Jimmy Russell's I thought was clearly better than the regular 101. The 8 year I thought was just a little bit better, and it was much more subtle, hard to tell. The difference with that is the 8 year is $10 more than the regular 101. Jimmy Russell's leave ad, that's a special release. I don't think that's even fair because, basically the 8 year, at least in a couple of stores I've seen, a lot of stores don't have it yet. But call that, it's a $10 difference. This is a $30 difference, roughly. And in many cases, this is even more and a bigger difference. But call it double. So I want to see right now, curiosity really did get the best of me. Let's find out. Now, just a little disclaimer. This is going to be one example here. We're going to find out how good this is, but every one of these is different. This is a single barrel. So in theory, this could be really good. And I'm going to say, wow, yeah, it may be worth the difference. And I can pick up another one of these and say, no, I don't think it is. But this is the deal. This specific one, it's 101 proof, as I said. This was bottled February 22nd, 2024, barrel number 2570, warehouse TY-F, and Rick number 29. All this information is down here. I love that. And again, this is a single barrel version of the Wild Turkey 101. Age, it's not age stated, but they say it's about 8 years old. So in theory, it's this being 6 to 8 years old. This is the 8 years old. This is almost like what the Wild Turkey age of the Wild Turkey 8 year. So call it that. The mash bill, it's the same Wild Turkey mash bill, 75 corn, 13 rye, 12 malted barley, and there was another couple of fun facts here. This was first released. The Kentucky Spirit first released in 1994. This was actually the second single barrel released in the country right after blends. So interesting enough. And also, Wild Turkey tends to have a rather low barrel entry proof because you don't see, barrel proofs of like 130. Like for instance, the rare breeds 116 proof. They generally have a barrel entry level between 107 and 115 proof. That's a little bit on the lower side. Another one I know that does that is Maker's Mark. So let's get into this. I want to see how good this one is, and then we're going to see just how much better it is than the Wild Turkey. I'm probably just going to review this one here. Maybe have a sip of the Wild Turkey, and then we'll actually do a blind in another video. Here we go. Nice cork pop. Okay, that was a nice cork pop. It did come out rather easily, but I know it was also sealed, so it definitely was wrapped tight. Also, this is the same bottle, if you notice, as the same bottle shape as the rare breed. So let's give this a nose. Color looks pretty much medium. That's definitely a pronounced nose. You can tell it's a Wild Turkey product, but let's give it a taste. Cheers. Well, can definitely not only Wild Turkey, but it does taste like Wild Turkey 101. But because essentially it's a single barrel version of it. But let me just give it another taste. I'm trying to see if I remember, when I had the 8 year and the 70th It was just more pronounced flavor of the Wild Turkey. And I say I'm going to do two things. In this video, I'm just going to put it right next to, just have a sip of it right next to it. And then in another video, I'll actually do a blind. All right, so far, I think let's just talk about this itself. I think this is very good. No issue with the way this tastes. I think this tastes very good. Two immediate thoughts. Off the cuff, don't think this is worth twice as much as Wild Turkey 101. I'm going to put it next to it. But the other thing is, just price-wise, I have two things in mind. First of all, this was $61. I can get the rare breed, which is 116 proof, for about the same price. This is also the same price as the Russell's Reserve single barrel, not the private barrels. Those are sometimes like even in the 70s if you get the store picks, but it's the same price as the single barrel, which is 110 proof. So there's two examples where there's a higher proof, and they're both really good, and they're the same money as this. Now, I guess the jackpot in this whole thing is if you get one of these that's just off the charts, and each one's going to be different. But I'm going to actually put this just side by side with the regular Wild Turkey 101. Let's just make that comparison. Okay, so we have this poured up. I actually got this specifically this last bottle because I wanted to compare it with the 8-year, which I did. And actually, again, I found there was a very subtle difference. But remember, that's $10 difference, about. Not every store even has the 8-year yet, so let's just compare it against the standard Wild Turkey 101, which was around when this was first created, when it came out, when the others weren't. So I know the 70th is just a special release, so let's stick to the basics here. So I'm going to go and give each a nose. Well, better nose on the a little more well-rounded nose on the Kentucky Spirit. Let's give each a taste. This is the regular Wild Turkey 101. Cheers. Okay, Kentucky Spirit, cheers. Clearly a better mouthfeel. There is something I noticed when I did the comparison with the 8-year, that this Wild Turkey 101, there's something at the end of the note that kind of drops off, second half of the palate, and I said with the 8-year, it kind of lingers on. It's kind of like it with this also. All right, not to belabor the point, I'll do this now, my opinion, and then we'll do a blind. Yes, the Kentucky Spirit single barrel is definitely better than its batched counterpart. In my view, at least for this single barrel and in this non-blind example, there absolutely is no way this is $30. This is worth $30 more than this. It is not twice as good, and even so, it's not worth $30 more, at least. I definitely say, and this is one of these cases where if you got the 8-year or it's around, it's $10 more, get that. Because I think the difference with that is subtly better. And I'd like to actually find the 8-year. I had the bottle, I finished it, and I would like to blind it against that. Either way, I'm still not going to see how this is worth this price for that. There's just too many other things you can get at a higher proof that's the same price. So that's my verdict. This is really good. And again, that's this one. I can maybe pick up another one, I'll say differently. But again, verdict, really good. Not worth twice as much as the Wild Turkey 101. Cheers.